Hello everyone, welcome to Module 2, Introduction to Academic Writing, Graduate Discourse, Elevating Academic Tone of Writing. I'm going to keep this introductory video very brief. I'm recording these increments of the module in retrospect, so I've already recorded some of the other videos, and as I should have expected myself, I extrapolated way too much and way too long. So I want to keep this very brief. The purpose of this video is to walk you through how to navigate these modules because they will look very similar to what you see this week moving forward. All subsequent modules will have similar content. The one thing you'll notice about this week's module is that there are no reading assignments. I'm strategically and purposefully planning readings to happen starting next week to give everyone time to secure textbooks because I understand that sometimes can be a struggle. Especially considering supply chain issues and whatnot. So the good news is I'm providing you all of the information you need right here in the module. I've put everything into videos and recorded everything for you so that you can review them at your leisure. The way to navigate these modules is to first access the module. So you can do that through modules. Here was last week. The first page here is this week. This page and every module to follow will have a similar page that's got all of the instructions. Usually I put a note at the beginning of the page. I provide a checklist for those of you who are super anal and like to take notes and need a checklist, or if you're very archaic like myself and like to print things out and have a hard copy binder. This is for you. It's just a checklist to navigate through. The goal is to navigate through each element, one through however many elements in the module, step by step. And so what you'll find is that there is usually an introductory video to be published at this moment. Then there will be lecture videos, certain documents to review, such as this one. And then you've got just a variation of other lecture videos, different videos, and assignments. Typically, the assignments will fall towards the end of the module, so there are 2 assignments for this second module. So the goal is to go through step by step. If you click on the checklist, again, if it's helpful for you to print this out, feel free to do it. It's just another step-by-step guide that I've compiled to help you navigate through the module. You can check through, if you open this in Word, you can check each, you can put your notes under each element that you need. And the goal is to follow through and just navigate through each element. The focal point of this module is to really take a look at and assess all of the writing and research competencies that I have discovered in reviewing your diagnostic writing assignment. So I have somewhat taken an aggregate inventory of some of the common writing and research deficits that I've seen and some of the tips and hints and tricks that I think will help bridge the gap and get you from undergraduate writing and research levels to the graduate level, which will be a prerequisite to your success in IPE 520 and what you will likely find to be the rest of your courses in the program. This module is also focused on you finding, discovering, and further investigating a research interest, or what we call a research domain, that you will typically take with you through your graduate program. So for instance, the outcome of this course is to write a literary literature review, or a synthesis or analysis of a certain phenomenon or interest in professional sport, and where the literature stands, what research has been done, what data has been presented, what needs to be presented, what holes are missing in the research, etc. The goal is for you to develop that research interest for yourself and to pick it up and take it with you to other classes in the program. For instance, in the spring, you will enroll in MASM 535, which is sport research, and that's where you will design a research study. And what you do in this class will be the precursor to that. It will be the literature review, or the research paper, if you will, that precedes the study you design. And so it's very common in graduate programs to discover and refine and hone in on a research interest that is yours and your own. It usually pertains to something that you want to do career-wise. It's correlated and congruent with your future career endeavors or your interests in sport. And that's the goal here. So to kind of brush up on where the writing should be, but to also understand what your research interest is going to be in your graduate program. If you haven't already, check out this checklist, and like I mentioned, go through each element here. One thing that is important to point out is this prohibited elements list. After you look at this module, the expectation is that you will understand how to format a document in APA formatting, meaning that every document you submit moving forward in this class will be in that format. This is also a list of parameters, things you cannot use, things you cannot say, words you can't use, phrases you can't use, and some important suggestions for how to tailor your writing. It's not lost on me that this content is not taught in K through 12, and it's also not taught in many undergraduate majors. In fact, there are many different disciplines in undergraduate levels that do not even include a research component. And so that's the goal of this class, is to bridge that gap and to show you the expectation so we can develop your writing in what we call your academic tone from the undergraduate level to the graduate level. And so all of that combined is the manifestation of this module. So you'll see different videos here. You'll see a document, like I mentioned, of the things that you should and should not do. And as you progress through these videos, you'll understand a little bit more about what academic writing and research is in terms of academic and graduate discourse, how it's a conversation, how it's a process, how it's a social endeavor, and how it's discipline specific, and how our style guides correlate with that. I've also included some support videos and modules. If you navigate to modules, you'll see support videos. If you feel like you have a deficit, or some of this, or a lot of it even, is unfamiliar, I've pulled many different videos from undergraduate courses in English, writing, and research and provided them here so that you can hone in, you can play them at your leisure, you can even play them in the background when you're driving, when you're going to work, going to school, you can play them in the background when you're at home. It just tells you a little bit more about all the things that are typically covered in an undergraduate writing and research course to help bridge that gap that was aforementioned. So those videos are important there. That's part of this module. And then finally, there are 2 writing assignments at the end of this module. I do want to point out that one of these assignments is taking the diagnostic writing assignment you submitted and revising it based on what you learned from this module. And so in some instances, that means for some of you rewriting it based on refining a topic, if your topic was too broad. For some of you, it's more focused on just the writing, how to elevate your vocabulary, correct grammar, and write in more complex sentence structure. So it really depends on your unique writing that you submitted. There is not going to be any specific unique feedback provided on the diagnostic writing assignment since you're revising it. However, after you submit this particular assignment, I will provide you with more specific feedback. However, I wanted to give everyone the opportunity to consume this content here, if you will, and see an expectation for what the writing should be, and then revise accordingly, and then I will go in and provide some subsequent feedback. There is another assignment here, which is a smaller assignment, 1 to 2 pages in APA format, where you're conducting some background research. You're going out and looking at your specific research interest and providing some justification for why this should be your research interest or research domain within your graduate program. Both deadlines are next Wednesday, 9/14 by 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard. I will not accept any late assignments for any reason, so make sure you plan accordingly. The best thing to do is take a look at the overall module and then plot the due dates and make sure everything's taken care of accordingly. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to me, r.taylor@wingate.edu. You can also call my office extension at 704-233-6022. After this module, we will start meeting one-on-one. So this is just more of your individual content, just to give us some time to get everyone on an equal playing field.